if you want to bring new people in, I mean, you're always going to get like a trickle of people that come in because they hear about you through word of mouth and stuff. But if you want to go out and find people, you need to engage in new spaces, be that digital or physical. So either you need to adapt to a new space, like what I'm doing with Discord, as many people have heard about. That's a space with a lot of young people on it, because young people aren't on Facebook or email. A lot of them are using Discord. So it's a means to an end. If we engage in this new space, we can bring in new people that use that and are familiar with it. And then, of course, similarly in real life, off the internet, going to, oh, here's an event this organization is holding. Here's this. We go to the university. We talk to these people. We go to them. And that makes them, and we're curious about their approaches and their causes, like what they care about. You can do this outside of single payer. It's like, I'm not just here to proselytize my organization and try to get people. It's like, hey, people in this organization, you should come to mine. You're like, oh, I'm interested to learn about this. So it's a mutual exchange, right? You have to show genuine interest, I think. And obviously, this is things that many of you understand, but I just think it's important to go over them and have a clear focus. So in my case, I'm trying to build an interstate collaboration group on Discord. We meet every Tuesday at 4 p.m. We just had the meeting with Thomas Lane from New Hampshire PNHP. But our main focus is Sabuka right now. It's like, what can we do to share resources and collaborate on messaging for Sabuka? So like, there feels like there's intention. It's not just we're going to meet and collaborate, ? What does that mean? What are we doing? And then another thing that I'm a big proponent of is have some things for new participants to do. So whether it's a young person or an older person, I feel like nonprofits have a big issue where sometimes you get new people and then it's like, okay, join this group. And especially if they're not necessarily really driven and self-motivated, unless they have roles for them to perform, things for them to engage and do when they join, they just don't engage and they slip off. I think this happens a lot with young people. I've seen this in everything that young people join. If they join and they feel a lack of purpose, or like, why am I here? And they're not given something to dig into, they're just going to slide right off. So as I said, young people are way more online, generally, but they're not using email and Facebook. They're typically busy. Many of them have a sense of disillusion, feel like they have kind of been screwed over by the older generations. That's a real feeling that they have. And also they're intimidated when they feel like they can't contribute. It's like, oh, how can I possibly help out? So some ideas with that is, the online spaces like Discord, go to universities, political organizations, make it clear that you value their knowledge. Like, I don't know much about policy, or I know nothing about medicine, but I do know about the internet. I do know about using stuff online. And make sure that you also have meetings that are accessible. I feel like sometimes that organizations have meetings that are accessible. I feel like sometimes it can get very like focused on the technical, like the members that are already a part of it. I think it's very important to have at least one meeting. If you have a public meeting, at least be ready to have the meeting be focused on, here's an introduction to the movement. And if no new people show up, then it's fine. We can talk about whatever we want. But always have your public meeting, always have an organization have its public meetings geared towards being ready if a new person shows up, to really draw them in and talk and give them an introduction. I already go into over some of this in the earlier discussion, so I'm not going to keep repeating myself ad nauseum. But what I want to do, because I don't want to just keep blathering, is I want to hear from everybody else. Where are places to go? You can drop it in the chat. I might take notes if you say because I don't know everything. Other people's experiences, what are the best places that we and other state organizations can go to help, feed our organizations with younger younger minds. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Tabling is a place for us, farmers market. And I just, we get their signature, and this young woman is in public health at OSU. She's eager to do something help with tech stuff, staffing, left her email and phone number. And if we weren't out there tabling, we would never have found her. So the other thing we do is occasionally events over on campus, and Simon and Fritz have been part of that. So those are just ideas.
Betty?
Well, I had something else to say, but while Mike has just spoken. So, Mike, how did you get permission, or how did you get on the campus? Like, I don't have a connection to the UVM campus to be able to get permission to like table. I don't know how I would do that.
Simon can answer that one.
How to make a connection on campus? I've had some success. If you look on university clubs, if there's like a student health policy group, for instance, also like student groups that are like political groups. I mean, usually universities have, I mean, they always have like Young Democrats, Young Republicans, but then there's often more specific. So I think like,
but if you're not
really,
if you're not a student there, or a faculty, how do you get the contact information for the people leading those groups?
I actually, yeah, I mean, I didn't actually know it either, and I just Googled. I was like, Oregon State University Health Policy Club, or they often have on their website lists of clubs, and then when you go to it, you'll get the advisor or like the person in charge, and then you send them an email and say, hey, I'm part of this organization. We're having this, if we're having this presentation on like the basics of the single payer movement in the United States, would any of your students be interested? Would you be interested in someone from organization coming and, even just talking or sitting in on the clubs? I mean, I have experienced people being relatively open about that, because often it's mutually beneficial because they're looking for things to fill club time. A lot of time clubs just meet and they don't have people. And then you're like, hey, I'm willing to give you something to do,
So that was actually a follow-up on a question I had actually after Mike spoke, but my actual question was, so I actually find this not just with young people, but with everyone, that like, so we have a list for Vermont Physician Central Health Program that's maybe 100 people long, but about 5 are actually active. And there may be 12 who will respond occasionally to things if you have like a concrete thing, and don't send a blast to everybody, but just send it to those, like you send it to 12 people and a handful of them will respond. It's a different handful, of different people who will respond. But I don't like, if I sit here and brainstorm, like some people will say, I want something that I can do in 5 minutes. I'm a busy doctor and, but I want to help. So if there's a petition that's current, you can ask them to do that, but then there won't be another petition for 6 months, or something. So like, how do you think up these things that are something that somebody can do, and do you post them on a Google Doc and make that be accessible through a link that's public or something? Like, where do you keep this list, or how do you let people know what they can do? Maybe that's the thing that Discord would be good for. I don't know.
I have an idea, but Mike, do you have an opinion on that?
So I first thought, my mind was Discord. If you get people to do that, a Google Doc would work for your own purposes. And Fritz, well, he's not with us now. He's the one of the outreach chairs for our Mid Valley group, and we actively try to collect speakers and what topics they're ready to speak on. But another way that you can get influence is to get acquainted with the professors on the campus, especially with philosophy, religion, um, health, public administration. That's how I've actually been invited into the classroom. You know, that sometimes they're looking for sort of practical examples of something they've just taught in those topics, in those subjects. And that sometimes works.
Yeah, I would agree with going to the professors. I also think that if for 5 minutes, I think something that can be done on the phone or done at home, you know, you're not gonna, if it's 5 minutes, they're not gonna want to like go out and do something usually. So like what we're doing, we're getting pictures with giant QR codes where it's like join the Discord. That's not really so much something active, but I wanted to nod to Mike. But actually QR codes, links to something like if you just have a running thing like One Click Politics or any of those, you know, any of those programs where it's easy to just put in your information and write your representative. It's like you just say, go to this link, scan this QR code, and it doesn't even have to be something specific like Sabuka. It could just be like just getting people to tell that their lawmakers that they want them to support universal healthcare or single payer. So I think just having it readily accessible, a link, a QR code, do that thing and you're done in 5 minutes is a good way to do it. Lynn, do you have a thought?
Yeah, what about the one-click politics? I did the Congress one. I got to do the Senate. That was just sent out yesterday or something.
So the hard thing is that in Vermont, so the Sabuka they haven't, but for supporting Medicare for all, you know, they've already, all of our congressional delegation has already supported it. So you're trying to find new and different things for people to do.
Yeah, we don't have, in fact, with the one we just did, I added a huge amount to mine because my Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, chair of the Health Committee, is anti-single payer, and she's pro-ACO REACH. So I added quite a bit to the script and was pretty adamant how people are dying, going bankrupt. We have to do something about this.
So with the one-click politics right now, the campaigns that we have active, we had one for Medicare for all, you know, asking them to co-sponsor that. Is that still active? Does anybody know? Mike would know, but he's busy.
I think that one isn't. I think it's just the Sabuka one right now, but I don't think there's any reason, and Mike, you can contradict me, but I don't think there's any reason that you couldn't just keep a one-click politics running that says contact for like everyone in the country, like like every representative in the country, every senator, that says write to them and tell them to support universal healthcare. Is that possible, Mike, to just keep that going?
Well, some have already supported it, so you don't want to be sending them something asking them to do something they've already done.
I think the program may detect those who've already taken action. I'll double check on that. Just out of curiosity, the person I just talked with was Andrea Salinas, one of our 5 Congress people here asking for money. But I just had the great opportunity to tell her about this Sabuka bill and the dear colleague letter that she'll see on September 18th. Please sign. She's interested. That was pretty neat.
Great.
So is that the launch date now?
Yeah, I'm dropping the bill on October 6th, I think, but dear colleague letter on September 18th.
Okay.
And do we have a one-click politics specifically about protecting Medicare?
We do, but we need to revive it and make sure it's got a better picture. I don't know if you saw this latest picture for the Sabuka bill. Andrea gave me a real tutorial on this. Said, don't have a picture of even a handsome young college student. That won't trigger anybody's amygdala. So we found, did everybody see that recent cartoon that we used? It's from the 1-minute video of the stick figures that are so happy that they're free of, they're not chained to their job. So I just picked one of those frames, and it tells he's chained to his desk, and he's saying no, that he can't get health care because he can't go start his own business because he's chained to the desk of his dull dead end job. So that's the kind of pictures we need, things that get to the amygdala.
Yeah, and I think just broadly for a 5-minute thing, if you don't have something absolutely specific for them to do, just trying to give them as many pieces. Here's a QR code to our website and our Discord, and here's a pamphlet, and that also has the QR code and the information to our website, and you can join that. Sign up on our website, join Discord. If there isn't something more specific to do, I'm gonna keep rolling here just so I get through this and don't waste anyone's time or make them stay longer than an hour. But yeah, going to your local political organizations like Lynn, the DSA in her area, Young Democrats, contacting advisors of university clubs, which can be found online. These are all ways you can engage youth spaces. And call to action. I would really like everyone here, if they can find a youth space, to try to drum up some interest. We have this scheduled 2 months ahead of time, starting at 5:30, so it's after most people, even on the West Coast, will be just off work. November 14th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I can put this in the chat as well. OPS office hours, a crash course on the single payer movement focused on young people who are not experts. So this is younger people, and assuming that they don't know a thing about, they don't even know what the word single payer means. They don't know what universal health care means. Is universal health care Obamacare? Is universal health care socialism? Who knows? But we'll try to do what we can to clarify that. Lynn, you had a question?
Yeah, you always make some really great ads. Can you create one for that? With
I'll
some
definitely
jazzy picture that I can send out, and I can get the DSA people who I'm with to make sure because I already know that they're for single payer, but they may not have all the knowledge.
Yeah, and I'll do that. Here, I'm gonna just copy the this into the chat, the information. Also, I would like to say as an addendum to this, if you're like part of the DSA, and you think it would be helpful to have some young person come and introduce them to single payer in like one of their meetings, I'm also happy to do that. Or anyone else here, I am willing to be a youth ambassador. I'm by no means as knowledgeable as some others, but I know a decent amount, and I can definitely enough that I can talk to a room of people that don't know more than me.
That is phenomenal. So, I mean, that is great, because even if, like, I work with these medical students, but people may picture like, yeah, well, they're medical students, so that's why they can understand this stuff. But to have a non-medical person, that is wonderful. Thank you.
So yes, please, as always, please contact me if I'm willing to do that, and I'm happy to do that. And as most people that have interacted with me for any decent length of time know, I enjoy talking. So I can manage that. All right, I'm going to move on to the second part, which is related. Inter-org collaboration. This has been my new, I don't know why, for some reason I came back from my trip to Europe and I had the fires of camaraderie fired up inside of me, and I jumped into this when I got back. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, but I think there's a lot of parallels between finding young people. I think there's principles. Seek out different orgs and learn their approaches, their causes. Utilize new online communication platforms other than email. I mean, like, I forgot to ask Thomas how he found me, but he's just like, but I've just been like distributing this link, and I've been staying very attentive and active on Discord, and it has served as an excellent place for organization and also just like this collaboration. This is where the interstate collaboration meeting is based, is on this new platform. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. Most people already know a little bit about it, but it has voice channels where you can talk with video. It has lots of different text channels you can organize into different topics. It's chronological, so it's way easier to follow conversations than a long email chain with like 20 email replies. And you can embed links and files directly into the chat. So like I have multiple times, as Mike has experienced, we've been working on a draft. I've been like, okay, we need to fix this, adjust this, adjust this, adjust this, adjust this. So then I drop it into Discord for him to look at. And if we had been using email, I would have had to compose a new email every time I sent a draft of like a pamphlet we were working on or something. So it's really good for that kind of back and forth, but I'm not going to get more into it than that. And here's the big thing: set aside disagreements on approach, embrace diversity of tactics. I don't know how many people were here when we talked about Thomas, but as I'll reiterate that, you know, Thomas proposed an interstate compact, which was fairly basic, simple, needs more work. You know, there's definitely issues that came up, and we had people who were very knowledgeable. We had Charlie Swanson, president of Healthcare for All Oregon Action, who knows a lot, and other people who are like, I don't think this will work. I don't think this will work. You know, we need Sabuka. You know, I think that's a better approach. But there was also a big emphasis on, even if we think this is we don't think this is the way to go, we're still going to get you in contact with a bunch of people. We're still going to build this relationship. We're still going to talk about it and follow up, because first of all, that it gives us, if we're at least talking to them, it gives us more opportunities to maybe put forward our ideas. And also, it's just like, that's the wall that comes down. And it is so much easier to argue amongst ourselves than to actually unite against the people who just flatly don't want universal health care at all. We can argue in the minutia of this approach or that approach or this thing or that thing all day, because those are the people we know and we're in contact with, not so much the people who are outright in opposition to us. Which of course everyone knows, but it's, you know, it always bears repeating. So, and to that end, find a shared focus. So this can become more and more granular. If you're going and talking to the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, shared focus is universal health care. That's just, we can focus. We all want to achieve universal health care. If you're talking with other organizations that want state-based universal health care, you can make the shared focus Sabuka. We all want Sabuka to pass, the State-Based Universal Health Care Act. If you're talking to some people in PNHP or that organization that grew out of it, National Health Program, which one was that, Mike? What was their name?
National Single Payer.
Yeah. If you're talking to National Single Payer, maybe don't talk about Sabuka, but you can talk about the Medicare privatization issue. We can both work together on trying to stop Medicare privatization. So focus on the shared goals rather than the disagreements, and try to build that relationship. Information slips through the cracks in the interstate collaboration group. I had in Esqualdo from Healthcare for All Washington and Charlie Swanson again in a meeting from Healthcare for All Oregon Action, and they were just like, there were just stuff that they didn't know. It's like, oh, have you talked to this lawmaker? No, we didn't. Or did you know about this? No, we didn't know that, because there's so much information in the movement, and it's so fragmented that just being able to talk, like, we weren't even there to necessarily talk about like lawmakers or like contacting lawmakers, but just because of a conversation between Charlie Swanson and then a member of Mid-Valley Healthcare Advocates, Fritz, that was there, we got a lead on contacting one of the Congress people that are going to be running in a competitive district that's currently held by a Republican, and tried to get her to put Medicare for All, to put single payer on her platform. Like,
is that Jamie?
Yeah, Jamie McLeod Skinner.
Yeah, she happened to be on a featured speaker on the Progressive Democrats of America Sunday meeting, and it was focusing on rural America. And she was dynamite. And there was another guy, Anthony Flaccavento, talking about focusing on what's happening in rural America. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to phone bank for her again. I phoned back for her last time, and I ended up getting some Republicans. So it was really interesting because Eastern Oregon wanted to separate and join Idaho a while back, and they had voting about that because they didn't like Portland was too progressive.
Yeah, I ran around. Well, Mike ran around a town near us, Albany, and I tried to keep up with Mike when we were canvassing for her. Yeah, so of course, so like you got new ideas. It also opens up more opportunities for recruitment. You know, talk to these people, communicate. Maybe you'll actually get some people to start volunteering and working, helping you out at your organization. And I truly believe that that coordinating messaging tactics compounds the strength of the whole movement. I mean, I'm an optimist, but I think I am of the opinion that we're always going to have people fighting for a national health program. We're always going to have people fighting for a state-based program, to use that example again. We're never going to get rid of each other. And I really don't think that's a bad thing. I think people fighting on multiple fronts is entirely positive, and it's a massive waste of time to waste any breath fighting over that. There are some instances when it comes down to specific legislation where it makes sense to have disagreements and debates, but I think the broad tactics, there's not a lot of point in fighting over them. So this is where I shill. This is my second call to action. My first call to action was the November 14th young person office hours. We have a collaboration group, weekly interorganization, interstate voice meeting. So just in the voice channel on the OPS Discord server, Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific time. You can also, there's the server also has, text channels for discussions asynchronously. I will drop the server invite in the chat.
I'm sorry, can you explain what an asynchronous text channel discussion is?
Oh, all that means is we have text channels where you could type something in and ask a question, and it just asynchronous, just meaning that it's not live. Like someone might get back to you hours later.
Okay.
That might be confusing. I'm just going to say text live edit my PowerPoint here. There's text channels to have discussions, and I think they're really valuable. And I truly believe that there is the potential here to do enormous good. Like the reason I've been so obnoxious about harping on about Discord is because I see a future where if enough people got on board, we got enough states on board, we got enough people talking to each other, we could have a situation where, let's say down in California, there's a bill that needs to get a bunch that we need to get a bill needs to pass. We need to get a whole bunch of constituents in California to get their lawmakers to sign on to it. And, you can text bank, not you, anyone can text bank, anyone can phone bank from anywhere in the country for something that's a state issue. And I have seen this demonstrated on Discord in the Progressive Victory Discord server, where they organize hundreds of young people to do text banking and phone banking to support, the Supreme Court justice in Michigan. Was it Michigan, or was one of those lake states in Michigan?
Judge Janet.
Judge Janet, or the abortion, for instance, the abortion, the one in Kansas that they failed. One pair of states could set up a system where we galvanize people across the country to support. It's like, okay, this state needs support. Now this state needs support as it comes up, and actually do serious political support there. And I think that's possible, and that's why I'm being such a stickler about this, and such a stickler about open collaboration.
I mean, I really appreciate your emphasis on trying to get some of our older folks onto Discord so that we can interact with younger people when they get there. And I also think it's super that you prepared this information to help, to guide us, because it's going to be really important that we not turn off young people. Like some of the stuff we've had on emails that have turned off people, that have, this inner, California infighting stuff. We don't want to see that in front of our young people and have them say, yeah, I don't want to be in these spaces. They're like unfriendly. So, so I think it's really good to have had this conversation too. So I've been on Discord. I have a channel. I did go back on and download the app for my computer, and it told me like I hadn't been on it so long I had to change my name because it had they used to have numbers with them and they want it to be easier to remember, so they're getting rid of the numbers. So that's where I am right now. Are you going to be giving a workshop to help people like me get better at this?
I had one a while back. I'm helping people one-on-one. I'm happy to just meet the two of us to go through it. Wait. No, the last one I did was Mid-Valley. It's so confusing sometimes because I do stuff with Mid-Valley and One Pair of States. I did one with Mid-Valley not too long ago.
You did one with One Pair of States months ago, but it was a Friday time, which is a shorter time. And also I was not able to attend that day, but it's recorded. I could go back, but the idea of a workshop that you're watching a recording isn't the same as like being there and asking your questions live. Like I was so discouraged on using Discord that I didn't want to bother watching a recording. I wanted somebody to tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Well, it sounds like it's about time to send out another mass email. I was wanting to do that anyways.
And it doesn't have to be one-on-one. Maybe other people have the same questions. I don't know.
Yeah, I figure I was planning, I'm basically in both the organizations I work for, I was planning to basically start doing one every couple 3 months, just so for people, new people and people that missed it and people that need a refresher. So I will definitely, and it's been a while with One Pair of States, so I think I'm just going to try, and the recording is out there. I don't know where it is. Probably Mike knows, probably on the YouTube channel, but I will also organize another live one soon.
Yeah, that one, the OPS was in June because Discord had the date of it.
Yeah, that one was a little tough. It was also a little tough for me because I had gotten really poor sleep, and the next door neighbor's dogs were just like barking constantly. My focus was shot for that meeting, so I don't think I maybe even also did it quite as well as I could have. So, but yeah, it's back in June, and I will do another one, and I will keep helping you. And I want to say this: don't worry if it's hard to figure out. I genuinely appreciate people moving on to the new platform. It's a totally new thing. You can't really transfer knowledge about other things like email to it that well. So it takes a little bit to get a grasp on, and I am happy to explain things again. I mean, I think Mike, you can speak to this. It took you a while to get a grasp on it, and I've, explained things to you multiple times, but would you say you're starting to get a pretty good handle on it, Mike? You're muted, by the way.
Yes, and I'm learning each time. So it does take that willingness to go back and be confused a bit again, and then experiment, and then call Simon or text him.
The format, the screen is very much like Slack, the different columns. So there's some similarity there.
I think it is very similar to Slack. The two reasons I know Discord better. Slack is also used in a lot of workplaces, and people hate it because it never lets them stop working because they have to pay attention to it all the time. So some people have some negative feelings about Slack. And also I know, and Discord is just like, it feels more casual. Like it actually started as primarily a platform for people to do video game parties on, but it expanded far beyond that. But it doesn't really have the work association that Slack does, and I kind of prefer the more casual associations with it.
Yeah, I definitely have medical students who they've used it for work, and as soon as that semester is done or that job is done, they offload it. They like get rid of the app. They don't want it. So it's not they have negative associations with it. So I would rather go where they want to be, like Discord.
Yeah. Oh, that was the stop video button. Whoops, that's not the share screen button. Okay, to finish this off, and we're already kind of having a discussion, but you know, I know that a lot of people in one pair states are associated or know other organizations. So since I'm shilling my inter-organization collaboration meeting, I wanted to ask people if they have organizations that they could connect me with, or they could bring in, or organizations they think would be good to connect to sort of keep up this energy. Does anyone have any ideas?
CNA, NNU.
Who are they?
California Nurses Association, National Nurses United, 100,000 members, and they're the ones that work with Bernie Sanders, and they're the ones that wrote the single payer bill in California, CalCare.
Okay.
The National Nurses United would really be great if you could build connections with them. They are not easy to build connections with, but maybe they would be easier with non-physicians. That you just wouldn't have that negative thing to start with. And PNHP would be, and SNAP chapters, especially, you know, young people in SNAP chapters. But, you know, medical students are so busy and their schedules get so horrible in their third and fourth years. You can feel like, oh, I've built this great connection with this, you know, first year medical student. And then like after 2 years, they disappear, and it's not your fault. It's not because they're less passionate about the issue. They don't have time.
I have somebody wanting to get in. His name is Maziar Shirazi. Anybody know him?
Yeah, he's a PNHP, California.
Okay, here he comes.
He's great. He's really good.
So I may want to take the share screen down if he's coming in.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Lynn,
Hi.
you know Maziar?
Yeah, I know him better than he knows me. They have a PNHP meeting every second Saturday at 10 a.m. and I often attend it. And Hank Abrams used to run it, but Maziar does it now. He's younger and he is excellent at running meetings, especially since we have this controversy in California. He's excellent organizing.
Maziar,
PNHP, he's a Kaiser doctor.
Maziar, can you go ahead, Maziar?
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm sorry I just dropped in. And thank you, Lynn. That was very kind of you. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback because I'm walking on the street, so I'm gonna mute unless anyone has any specific questions or concerns.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Sorry to drop in late.
Okay.
No problem. I don't know if we've met. I'm Simon Hutton, digital outreach manager for One Pair States and a local organization in Oregon called Mid Valley Healthcare Advocates. And I've been basically, this discussion has been focused on engaging young people, going into young people's spaces, talking to them, engaging with them, and bringing them into the movement, and also building collaboration with other organizations, keeping things friendly, embracing diversity of tactics, and building on shared objectives.
Yeah.
Since we have not a lot of time, I'm going to cut straight to I'm just going to quickly review the 2 calls to action since we have a new person in here. Basically, on November 14th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to share screen again. November 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, One Pair States is holding a office hours. It's going to be entirely focused on talking about the single payer movement for primarily young people who are not experts, who don't know a thing. Meaning, as I said, universal healthcare could be Obamacare, or it could be socialism, or it could be something else, and they don't know the difference. That's the level we're talking about, because I really want to bring them in. So I'm encouraging everyone here to, if they have groups of spaces with young people who maybe are interested but don't know how to engage, don't know about it, want to learn more, I strongly encourage people to talk to them, to try to bring them in. And on the front of interstate collaboration, on Discord, which is a platform we have started using recently because a lot of young people use it, and it's better for collaboration and discussion in a lot of ways than email. We now have One Pair of States now as an interstate meeting every week at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Discord server. I can redrop the invite to the Discord server, and I'm also going to drop some tutorials into the chat as well, as I always do. I don't have time to talk about what Discord is, but it is a platform. And we are really trying to focus on getting groups, national groups, state groups, just having conversations, exchanging ideas, and it's going pretty well. And we are trying to get if you get other organizations involved and participating. Lynn, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, can we join the One Pair of States Discord anytime we want to?
Yes. So how it works is you join it, you have to have a Discord, you have to make a Discord account.
Mhm.
Once you join, you will land on a page that says, it'll basically say, okay, read this first, and it'll explain the rules of the server. And then it'll explain that if you want to be a user on the server, you'll only have access to a very small number of things. You
Mhm.
have to, in the join chat, say, this is my name. This is, like, if applicable, this is the organization I'm a part of. You know, just a basic little introduction. And this is to stop everyone, since it's a public, if anyone has the link, anyone in the world can join. So we just don't want anyone to be getting into the specific topic channels. But you can join it at any time by following the link, the one I put in the chat. It's a permanent link. It lasts forever. I encourage people to copy paste that link and distribute it with whoever they know, whatever groups they know. Oh, someone just started screen sharing.
Yeah,
Hello, Mike.
I thought I'd show it up if you wanted to use it.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like. Actually, here, Mike, I'll screen share on my end real quick because it's faster for me, because I'm not going to fully tutorialize it, but essentially how it works, like nested left to right. There are servers on the far left, and that's this first column. And then think of it as like an expanding folder. You click on a server, and then these are all the channels within the server. And then you click on a channel, and then it shows you what's within the channel. So it expands from left to right. And as you can see, here are a bunch of text channels. Oh, there's Betty Keller. I'm going to wave to say hi, and then I'm going to add you as a user so you can have access to everything. But as a brief example, in the interstate collaboration room, we were just having this back and forth conversation in the meeting just before this one with where we brought in Thomas Lane from PNHP New Hampshire. And it's like, and Consuelo from Washington was like, oh, you guys should check out this Finance Technical Advisory Committee. I said that we were doing the office hours. Then Thomas Lane provided his contact information. And then he posted the bill, like the New Hampshire bill they're working on. And you can also share, they can share like images for social media or whatever directly on. So it's basically it's a hub for conversation and collaboration. And I'm not going to go in any deeper than that, but
So this Tuesday thing is a voice thing though. So how do you, like, if somebody next Tuesday wanted to go on this voice thing, how do they do that?
Here, I will. So what you would do is you'd click on the One Pair of States, and then when you're
Which is
in
a server.
which is the server, and those are the ones on the far left.
Okay.
So
And the
like for
middle
the-
column is what are the channels?
these are the channels. So it's organized. The top is information. And then like a few and then like 3 text channels that you have access to if you're not a member, which is where you ask to join. And then there's a bunch of different topics. You probably don't see all of these. There's some that are hidden to everyone except for me, but we have outreach, we have like communications, where we've been talking about the pamphlet. We have the interstate collaboration and other things, and there's a number that aren't active because we don't have a ton of people on the server right now. We currently have 38 and not everyone's using it. And then at the bottom, there's voice channels. Now, there are no invites, there are no emails to join a voice channel. You click on the server, you scroll down to the voice channel, and you click on the voice channel. And you see how I like down here, I don't know, this might be a little small, but there's my name right
Yep.
down here. And I am in the voice call now. So you click on the server and then you click on the voice channel and you're in the call. And that is how you join a voice call on Discord.
Okay, thank you.
So we meet in this interstate collaboration voice channel on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. If someone wants, I send out an email to the people that have already been invited in, and it's an expanding list of people. If anyone wants to start receiving that email, they can tell me and I will start including them as like a reminder that it's happening.
You want me to put my email in the chat, or you just take a message and you just know that I want to be on it, or what?
Yeah, here, I will just note down, add Betty Keller, because I have your email.
Yeah.
Keller to collab group meeting. Yeah.
Now, do you
Lynn,
need my
oh,
email, or do you use my my username or whatever it is?
here, I'll get to you in a second, Lynn. So I send email reminders,
Oh, okay,
but you can't join the call from that email.
right.
You open up Discord and I just say, hey, we're meeting at 4 p.m. in the Interstate Collab voice channel on the OPS server. But actually, why don't you just drop it into the chat real quick now anyways, and I'll, and yeah, Lynn, did you have a question?
Yeah, I see ACO reach. So would I be able to look in what's in there now?
In ACO reach. Oh yeah, that I added that as a voice channel. That's not being
Oh, it's a
used.
voice. Oh,
Yeah. The thing is, I made a few channels just to start. I can always add and delete channels. So if someone wants to add, if we got a good number of people from California in here and they wanted to talk about California specific stuff, I could add that channel. So I know right now most of the majority of these channels are inactive because the main activity has been in the Interstate Collab and some in communications. And then I talked with like Thomas Lane in public before he joined the server. So again, this is like we're in our infancy right now. But this is why I'm trying to get people using it, because if we reach a critical mass, then people will want to join just because other people are using it, not because I'm constantly badgering them to get on. Yes, Mike.
So I have a question, Simon. When I updated the Discord thing and I got the new username, it has this privacy and security warning. Discord app was prevented from modifying apps on your Mac. That seems like a good thing, to prevent it from modifying apps on my Mac, or does it need to modify some apps?
I believe you do need to give it permission. I'm not a Mac person. Mike, don't you have to do that sometimes?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what kinds of things do you need to give permission for? Oh, like using my microphone and stuff for doing
Yeah.
a voice channel. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's just a extra security thing that Apple has, and it pops up for everyone, I think, that uses Discord on Apple.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The reason there's no ACO reach text channel is that it falls under anti-privatization, and we might want to change that name. I don't know. That's still probably the best category, because we talk about Medicare Advantage and ACO REACH. We have to decide whether to make two separate, one thing for Medicare Advantage and another one for ACO REACH.
I think it might be just as well to keep those together since you might have the conversations overlapping enough.
Yeah.
I was thinking almost of whether it made sense to have one be private, protect Medicare, but then that wouldn't include the privatization of the VA. So maybe the anti-privatization is actually just good to keep them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear about Kaiser having to pay a huge fine for upcoding?
No.
Mhm.
And did you hear that St. Charles Hospital in Bend is refusing Medicare Advantage?
Ah,
They've
That's great.
they've probably done the research, and the lady up in Sequim, Washington, who was working with League of Women Voters, I think she had the hospital do their research to find out how much money they're spending to fight through pre-authorizations and claim denials under Medicare Advantage, and they're probably losing money at it.
And just,
was that? Oh, I can't remember her name. Never mind. And
I'm
and
just gonna say,
Jurgen?
I'm gonna go on the National Single Payer meeting tomorrow.
Good, good. Well, are we at the end?
Yeah, I'm just gonna finish by saying, just since we ended up, as often happens when I'm around, bleeding into the Discord conversation more than I expected. You know, I'm basically, whenever I do a meeting or start a new group, I'm just moving it onto Discord because you can't really can't just force people to use it, because it's like, if there's nothing going on, we have to make it natural for people to use. So I'm holding the interstate collaboration meeting. I would encourage people in certain circumstances, once they become familiar with the platform, to consider using it for other purposes. It's good for back and forth communication. It'll be a long, slow process, but I think we will get there. And I think it will be a useful tool, and I think it will help with the endless email chains that I've unsubscribed from the One Payer States email list to avoid getting. So I just encourage people to embrace it, use it when it's applicable, get adjusted to it, and we'll keep building on it. And I have a final reminder of the calls to action after Mike says whatever you want to say, Mike.
Yeah, so Kathleen and I are working on project for the budget of the One Pair States, and if I contact her through Discord, will that send a notice on her email?
So you can have Discord send email notifications. It often goes into one of the subfolders. Like, you know how Gmail has like the social folders and stuff? So it may go into those. Also, I tend to discourage people from doing that because you can get piled in messages. And so I tend to, and I will not explain this now. Yeah.
That's the point of getting on it, was to get away from so many emails.
I won't explain how to now, but you can set notifications where I only want to be notified, but I only want to get the boop sound and have, or like, then get like a flash if something is posted to this specific channel or on the rest of the server, only if someone messages me. You can set notification settings. I can explain that more in a tutorial because we don't have time now. I think it's a bad idea to have people, because then you just become, as she said, you get even more emails and you stay reliant on email. I don't think, and there's still reasons to use email. Like, you should, it's like, there's email still has its purpose, and I still email people, but this is just another way to do it. And I think mixing the two is not a good idea. Lynn, you got a question?
Yeah, I just want to remind people about this Friday is Catherine will say that is Andre Steakhouse is giving a presentation what whole Washington did, the speech they gave in that committee, right, Catherine?
Yeah, I forgot about that on Friday. I don't know what time that is. I gotta work Thursday and Friday.
9
Um,
a.m.
I also put the link up above we cut out, we added just a little bit of the beginning of the meeting with a couple public comments, and then we just cut out in Andre's presentation, and then a little bit of Q&A at the very end, if you guys want to go watch that on our YouTube channel. Or you
Alright.
can share it with that gentleman, because he does, Aaron and Andre, I thought, did a really good job of addressing ERISA.
Sorry, preempted that a little bit. Sorry, Catherine. I screen shared when you were still talking. I was just gonna, since we're already going a little over time, beating people over the head with the calls to action. Oh, there you are, Catherine. Hold on, I just added you as a user, so you have access to everything. All right. So, summary: reach out and invite young people to our November 14th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time office hours. Any groups of young people, you can reach into their spaces, tell them this is happening, tell them we're interested, and they can come here to get more. I'll add a 1.5 if you want me to come and talk to any people as a younger person who's in the movement. I'm happy to do that, and just contact me. I think most of you have my email. And second, join the oh wait, did you have a question about the first point, Betty?
Yeah, so, but maybe it makes sense for you to finish up your summary and other people can leave, since I have a question about reaching something specific to Vermont.
Okay. And then second call to action, join the OPS Discord server and the inter-org collab group if you're interested. But otherwise, feel free to spread around the Discord invite, spread the word to other organizations, contact me. I'm going to once again drop my, oh, that's a bunch of stuff. I'm going to drop my email once again into the chat. I know that probably most people have it, but I strongly encourage you to, feel free to link me to other organizations. I am dropping this into the chat right now. And it's fun. I mean, like, the fun thing about the collab group is that we don't know exactly who's going to show up, and then we just talk about stuff for an hour. We're like, what's going on in your place? What's going on with you? Who knows? It's very informative, and I often like just kicking back and listening to other people talk. And
So it's not really an agenda then, it's just a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had, like, today we had an agenda because we had a speaker. We have like a theoretical agenda, and if we get enough people, I'll probably start trying to make a little more order in it. Right now it doesn't because it's in its infancy. But we generally have a structure of topics because, again, our primary focus is Sabuca. And I have been talking a lot with Consuelo from Washington, and we're, she's distributing the one-payer states, the one-payer states Sabuca one-click politics amongst her organization. We're sharing posts for social media. We're, sharing information. It's very, we're less work for more people. So yeah, we generally have a light agenda. And thank you for listening to me. Chat away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have a question, comment, or should I go to Betty Keller? About the Vermont thing. All right.
It may be a little bit broader interest than just Vermont. So
Okay.
in Vermont, we have Front Porch Forum is across the state. Some young person had the idea of neighbors could talk to each other if they had a forum, and it's an email, and when you join it, you get an email, however often they collect enough posts to bother putting it out. So it might be once a day, it might be a couple of times a day, there might be a day that's skipped, especially if you're in a smaller community. But it collects posts, and it'll be things like, I saw this black dog. He seems to doesn't have a collar, or I have a twin bed. I don't need anymore. Anybody want it? Or I'm looking for a wash machine. Mine just broken. They're out of stock of what I want. So like all these like how can you help your neighbor? What does your neighbor need, or what do you have that could help somebody else? And so it's called Front Porch Forum. Young people are not on it. Young people typically get on it when their parent says, oh, if you want to get rid of that, you can get rid of it on Front Porch Forum. And then the person joins it and immediately posts the one thing that they wanted to get rid of or whatever, But they're already on Discord. So is there a way for me to find people who are young, like young people in Vermont who are on Discord already, who might be interested in healthcare reform, or invite them and see if they are? Like, can you find people on Discord with common interests? Is there like, unlike Instagram or some of the platforms like Twitter, you have the hashtags and you can find people with a similar interest. Is there something like that for Discord?
Yeah, and I'll note, I saw your question in the chat. I'll try to answer it right after this, Catherine. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, so for finding people, so you can add people as friends directly on Discord, but you actually have to know their username and they have to accept. So that needs to be exchanged sort of if you know the person personally. The best way to find people, so if you join a server, even if they're not your friends, you can see everyone that's part of that server. Like here, I'll show you, like using One Pair States as an example. See this column on the right side? This shows everyone in the server who's online and offline. So here's Betty Keller, Consuelo, Catherine, Lynn, Mike, Tony, Garriman, me, and then everyone else. There's AJ. So these are all the people, and then they're going to be having conversations. They might be having conversations in voice chat or text chat, and then you can message them. Like how I got a hold of Thomas was like, hey, OPS, I'm with PNHP in New Hampshire. And then I replied to them and we had a conversation, but then I can specifically message them. I can add them as a friend. So if you meet someone on one server, you can communicate with them, you can add them as a friend, and then you can invite them to another server. Everyone should be able to, if you click on the One Pair States tab at the top and this drops down, there's an invite people button. And you can get an invite link. You can invite any friends you have on Discord to the server. You can get a link to invite to give to people to send them to the server. So that's how you meet even without having friends specifically, you can meet people and talk to them and add them as friends and add them to invite them to other servers through like, if there's a server of this front porch thing, you can get on there and everyone will be on there and you can talk to people there and move them over to the One Pair States server.
Yeah, it's not actually on Discord at all. It's email based. But I was trying to figure out, like, can you go on Discord and find young people, since young people are not on Front Porch Forum? So is there a list of servers you can browse through them and see if one of them might be relevant to you?
Yeah, so the reason we're not on it, and some people have gotten confused about this, is because you can't, to become a like public, I forget what they're called, to become a server that's listed publicly that can be searched, you need there's a bunch of requirements you need to fulfill. Like you have to have at least 1,000 people on your server.
Oh,
And other requirements need to be fulfilled. So that's why we can only get people to our server via invite links, or inviting them directly. But there are a ton of big servers out there that you can search through on different topics. Like the one I mentioned before, who did the phone banking and text banking. Where are they?
Yeah.
Where are they? where are they? Progressive Victory. This is a public one, I think, because it has like here, you can see this list on the side as I scroll down. I'm trying to illustrate how many people are on this one Discord, this one political activism Discord server. Like,
Yeah,
it is
you're still on the
growing.
H's, yeah.
Yeah, so and they you know, organize all this stuff. They're like, this Friday at this time Pacific time or this time Eastern time, we're doing a 30-minute phone banking, learn how to phone bank, learn how to text bank, learn how to canvas in your neighborhood. Like, this is, they do all that through this. So this would be a server that you could find by searching them. We're just not nearly notable to find that way ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I've repeatedly given my call to action pitches. If no one else has any questions, thanks for coming. I will do a Discord thing for whoever is interested soon.